Who could have predicted the shocking twists that unfolded in episode 7 of The Gilded Age? Just when we thought the drama had reached its peak, the writers threw us into chaos, a shooting that could change everything, relationships hanging by a thread, and a trailer for episode 8 that promises even more jaw-dropping revelations. But here's the question that has everyone talking. Who's truly pulling the strings, and how will the Newport ball reshape the lives of our favorite characters? Stay tuned, because we're about to break down every major storyline from episode 7 and dig deep into the clues hidden in the episode 8 trailer. Episode 7 left us gasping with that unforgettable final moment, George Russell collapsing after being shot. The entire fan community is in shock, and the big question is, who did it, and why? The writers gave us just enough hints to keep us guessing, but one thing is clear: George's survival is not just about his health, it's about the entire balance of power in New York's high society. First, let's talk about Bertha. Her reaction in that instant wasn't about power or social climbing. It was raw, emotional, and devastating. For so long, we've seen her as a strategist, a woman constantly calculating her next move in the brutal world of New York society. But in that moment, all of that fell away. The way she rushed to George's side proved something we often forget. Bertha's ambition has always been tied to protecting her family. And in episode 8, the trailer shows her in panic, begging to know if George is still breathing. That single shot tells us that season 3 isn't just about societal games anymore. It's about survival, loyalty, and love. Now, the obvious suspect here is Clay. We've had foreshadowing since season 2 when George mentioned that Clay had no problem with violence against workers. George's business moves this season effectively destroyed Clay's career, and the look of quiet fury on Clay's face in earlier episodes tells us revenge was always brewing. The writers have planted this seed carefully, and now it seems ready to bloom in the ugliest way possible. But the brilliance of The Gilded Age is that it never makes things simple. Could it be someone else entirely? Could we be misreading the signs? After all, when a show leaves a cliffhanger this big, it's rarely as straightforward as it looks. What's fascinating is how George's injury ties directly into the other storylines. For example, William's immediate rush to help George isn't just about medical urgency. It's the moment that finally connects him directly to Bertha and Marian in a way that could change his future with Peggy. And let's not forget Marian herself. In the trailer, we see blood on her hands and dress, proof that she helped in the rescue. For a woman who has struggled to prove her worth and find her place, this could be the turning point. She's no longer the sheltered young woman under her aunt's watch. She's stepping into a role of real courage and responsibility. But George's shooting isn't just a tragedy, it's a test. It forces every character to confront what truly matters to them. Will Bertha finally realize that her marriage is more than a partnership for power? Will Larry put aside his pride and finally reconcile with Marian? And will the elite of New York see George's near death as an opportunity to rise, or will it bring them together in unexpected solidarity? As we head into episode 8, the stakes couldn't be higher. The Newport ball is meant to be the crown jewel of Bertha's social campaign, but instead it may become the scene of George's dramatic return, or his absence, leaving Bertha to face her rivals alone. The trailer gives us tantalizing glimpses but no full answers, which is exactly why fans can't stop speculating. One thing is for sure: the aftermath of this shooting will reshape not only the Russell family but the entire social order of the Gilded Age. If there's one storyline that has divided fans more than any other, it's Marian and Larry. Episode 7 finally gave us the confrontation we'd been waiting for, and it was every bit as emotional as we imagined. For so long, their relationship has been hanging in the balance, built on a fragile foundation of hope and trust, and nearly shattered by misunderstanding. Marian's reaction to the rumors about Larry was swift and harsh, but it's impossible to ignore the shadows of her past. She's a woman who has already endured the crushing humiliation of being abandoned at the altar. Trust isn't just important to her, it's survival. So when she believed Larry had lied about his whereabouts, the wound cut deeper than words could express. In her eyes, it wasn't just about one lie. It was about the possibility of reliving the worst betrayal of her life. But episode 7 delivered the truth. Larry and Jack finally revealed what really happened that night, and the pieces fell into place. The relief on Marian's face told us everything. The walls she built around her heart might finally come down. Yet, as satisfying as this resolution was, it's clear the writers are far from done with their story. The episode 8 trailer shows Marian still caught between heartbreak and hope. Larry is visibly shaken, not only by his father's injury but also by the possibility of losing Marian forever. And in a twist no one saw coming, it's Agnes, the very woman who has spent most of this season reminding Marian of her place, who encourages her niece to make things right with Larry. Can you believe it? Agnes, the iron-willed guardian of tradition, actually telling Marian to follow her heart. If that doesn't tell us how serious things have become, nothing will. And let's not ignore the symbolism. We see Marian in the trailer wearing a pink gown at the Newport ball, a color often tied to renewal and romance in period dramas. Feels deliberate, a hint that reconciliation is not only possible but inevitable. Could the ball become the stage for Marian and Larry's long-awaited reunion? All signs point to yes, but with the Gilded Age, nothing is ever certain until it happens on screen. What makes this storyline so compelling is the way it ties directly into George's shooting. Without that tragedy, Marian and Larry might have continued circling each other, too stubborn or too scared to bridge the gap. But crises have a way of stripping away pride and hesitation. When faced with the possibility of losing George, both Marian and Larry are forced to confront what really matters. It's no longer about misunderstandings or doubts, it's about choosing love in the face of uncertainty. Still, we can't ignore the possibility of new obstacles. The Russell family's world has been shaken, and Marian is suddenly standing at the center of it all. Will the elite see her as a worthy partner for Larry, or will whispers and judgments threaten to tear them apart again? And how will Marian herself handle the shift from being a woman on the fringes of high society to someone whose actions directly impact the powerful Russell family? As episode 8 approaches, the air is thick with anticipation. Fans are desperate for Marian and Larry to finally find happiness, but the question lingers. Will they get their fairy tale ending, or will the cruel rules of the Gilded Age's social order rip it away at the last moment? The Newport ball might just give us the answer. Of all the storylines in episode 7, none struck as deeply at the heart as Peggy and William's. Their relationship, once full of promise, now teeters on the edge of collapse, and the fallout has left fans debating whether love can survive the weight of truth. Let's start with William. Episode 7 showed us a version of him that was surprisingly mature. The moment he heard whispers about Peggy's past, he didn't run, he didn't judge. He went straight to her, ready to hear her side. That's something Marian herself could have learned from, don't you think? But here's the problem: timing. Peggy had been ready to confess everything in the previous episode. She even said the words, "I need to tell you something." And yet, William shut her down, too caught up in his own nerves and expectations to let her speak. Now that choice has come back to haunt him. Truth, when it finally surfaced, was heavier than William expected. Peggy's past isn't a trivial matter. It's a revelation that strikes at the very foundation of trust and social reputation. And while many of us feel she did nothing wrong after all she tried to tell him, William is left reeling. His silence in episode 7 speaks louder than words. You can almost see the storm brewing behind his calm demeanor, the tug-of-war between his affection for Peggy and the crushing weight of societal expectation. Trailer for episode 8 hints at just how brutal the next steps will be. We see Peggy in tears, her face twisted in anguish. It's a heartbreaking image that suggests William may not stand by her after all. The fans fear that familiar line, "I need time to think." If William does utter those words, it will devastate Peggy, who has already endured so much. And to make matters worse, she may have to face this heartbreak in the shadow of the grand Newport ball, where appearances mean everything. Then there's the Black Elite Ball. This event isn't just a social gathering, it's a historic statement, a celebration of Black excellence and community at a time when New York society often seeks to ignore or belittle it. William had promised to take Peggy, a promise that symbolized his willingness to embrace not only her but also her world. But now the trailer leaves us uncertain. Will he keep his word, or will fear and hesitation cause him to break it? There's also a fascinating moment teased in the trailer. Peggy's mother, Dorothy, confronting William's mother, Elizabeth. It's the clash we've all been waiting for. Dorothy, a woman of strength and dignity, is not one to let prejudice or condescension go unchallenged. Fans are hoping she delivers the verbal strike Elizabeth deserves, a moment of truth that cuts through the icy facade of New York's old guard. But let's be honest, Elizabeth doesn't easily bend. Will she take Dorothy's words to heart, or will she double down on her arrogance? My guess is the latter, which could set the stage for even more conflict in Season 4. And let's not forget the ripple effects. If William hesitates or walks away, Peggy will not just lose a man she loves, she will face public humiliation at a time when appearances mean everything. Yet, knowing Peggy, she will rise stronger because her story has never been about fitting into society's expectations. It's been about carving out her own place, no matter the cost. Episode 8 could be the breaking point for Peggy and William. Fans are split. Some believe William will come to his senses, realizing that love is worth more than reputation. Others fear he'll fold under the pressure of his family and society. One thing is certain, Peggy's tears in the trailer guarantee that her journey in the finale will not be easy, and we'll all be watching with bated breath to see whether this love story ends in redemption or heartbreak. Episode 7 gave us one of the most unforgettable scenes in the Gilded Age so far, a moment that peeled back the layers of secrecy around Oscar and forced his entire family to see him in a new light. 4 seasons, Oscar has been portrayed as charming, ambitious, and cunning, but his true feelings, the ones he has been forced to hide from society, finally came to the surface. And the impact on the Van Ryn family was seismic. Let's start with the reveal itself. Marian has always been an ally, but this time the truth didn't just rest on her shoulders. The entire family, even Agnes, was confronted with Oscar's reality. Ada's silent tears spoke volumes, but the most powerful reaction came from Agnes. The strong-willed matriarch, who so often insists she is never wrong, had tears in her eyes. It was a rare glimpse of vulnerability, one that suggested she had known the truth all along. 'Cause let's face it, a mother always knows. The emotional weight of that scene cannot be overstated. For Oscar, it was both terrifying and liberating. For years, he's lived in fear of exposure, hiding behind carefully crafted lies and social maneuvering. But when John Adams left him a gift in his will, and John's sister showed him unexpected kindness, it was as if the universe was finally giving Oscar a chance to live authentically, at least in private. But as with everything in the Gilded Age, the moment of tenderness comes with a shadow. Enter the Heritage Society woman. On the surface, she seems interested in Oscar's new house because of its historical value. But something about her feels off. Her gaze lingers too long, her questions dig too deep, and fans can't help but wonder, is she a potential ally or a looming threat? Could she be plotting to use her knowledge of Oscar's truth as leverage if she doesn't get what she wants? Timing feels too perfect to be innocent. Trailer for episode 8 hints that Oscar may be forced to seek help, possibly even from Bertha. Imagine the irony. A man who has long walked the fine line of appearances now turning to the queen of strategy for protection. Could Bertha's ruthless determination to shield her loved ones extend to Oscar, someone she doesn't always fully trust? The line in the trailer where she declares, "I am ruthless for the people I love," could very well apply here. Then there's the sharp exchange between Oscar and Agnes in the trailer. When he asks her if she ever admits when she's wrong and she replies, "I don't need to. I'm never wrong." It's classic Agnes, witty, cutting, and proud. But underneath the sarcasm lies a deeper truth. Agnes may never admit it out loud, but she's grappling with feelings she's buried for too long. Fans are hoping for a heartfelt conversation between them, one where Agnes finally acknowledges her son's pain and offers him the unconditional love he's been craving. Will we get that? Or will Agnes retreat back into her shell of pride? And let's not forget Ada. She may not command the room like her sister, but her compassion has always been the quiet strength of the Van Ryn household. Her tearful reaction in episode 7 suggests she may step forward in episode 8, offering Oscar the acceptance Agnes struggles to provide. The trailer even shows Ada sitting at the head of the table in Agnes's old seat, a symbolic passing of the torch, perhaps hinting that Ada's role in the family is about to grow in importance. Oscar's journey in episode 8 will likely be one of the most emotionally charged arcs of the finale. Will he find protection and acceptance, or will society's ruthless rules once again force him into silence? The answer could reshape not just his future but the entire legacy of the Van Ryn family. If there's one thing we know about the Gilded Age, it's that no season ends quietly. And in Season 3, the Newport Ball is poised to be the ultimate showdown, a glittering battlefield where love, ambition, and betrayal all come to light. Let's start with Gladys and Hector. For weeks, their relationship has been growing closer, and episode 7 made it clear that Hector is determined to win her heart. From noticing her dress at the opera to filling her room with her favorite flowers to that gentle touch on her chin, Hector has been playing the perfect suitor. But the question lingers. Is his affection genuine, or is he playing a dangerous game? Remember, he recently lost financial support when George refused him. Could his romance with Gladys be a way to secure another path to wealth and status? Or has love truly softened him? The episode 8 trailer shows Gladys looking radiant at the Newport Ball, with Hector right by her side. On the surface, it looks like a fairy tale. But attentive fans noticed a flicker of worry in her eyes in one of the clips. Could this tie into the pregnancy theories swirling through the fandom? If true, it would raise the stakes higher than ever, and force both Gladys and Hector to face the reality of their choices. Now let's shift to Bertha. For much of Season 3, she's been in a battle not just for social dominance but for respect. And the Newport Ball is her ultimate test. In the trailer, we see her standing tall, even in the face of Mrs. Astor's disapproval. The boldest move? Allowing divorced women to attend. In a society obsessed with appearances and rigid morality, this is nothing short of revolutionary. Mrs. Astor is furious, ready to cast out even her own daughter to preserve her outdated rules. But Bertha? She refuses to bow. In her words and her actions, she's declaring that the future of New York society belongs to women who will not be silenced or sidelined. Of course, Bertha's strength will be tested most of all by George's absence. The trailer shows her arriving with Gladys and Hector, looking every bit the social queen, but without George at her side, her rivals may see weakness. That's why many fans are convinced George will make a dramatic entrance later in the evening, surprising Bertha and silencing the whispers. Imagine the impact. The king and queen of Newport reunited, stronger than ever, in the face of betrayal and near tragedy. It would be the ultimate statement that the Russells are not just survivors, they are untouchable. Meanwhile, the ball itself will serve as a mirror of everything we've seen this season. Marian in her pink gown, symbolizing renewal and possibly reconciliation with Larry. Oscar facing the threat of exposure, perhaps turning to Bertha for help. Peggy holding her head high, even as her heart breaks over William's hesitation. And Ada sitting in Agnes's old seat, signaling a quiet but powerful shift in the Van Ryn household. Every storyline converges here, in a single glittering night that will define the future of these families. And let's not forget Bertha's words from the trailer, "I am ruthless for the people I love." It's a declaration, a promise, and a warning all in one. Whether it's protecting George, shielding Gladys, or even stepping in to help Oscar, Bertha is ready to risk everything to secure her family's place at the very top. As the lights shine over the Newport Ball and the music swells, we're left with more questions than answers. Will George's survival mark the beginning of a new era for the Russells? Will Marian and Larry finally reclaim their love? Will Peggy find the strength to walk away from William, or will he redeem himself at the last moment? And will the Newport Ball end in triumph, or in yet another shocking twist? One thing's for sure, the Gilded Age has saved its most powerful moments for last, and episode 8 promises to deliver a finale we'll be talking about long after the credits roll.